Ich fand es wirklich eine tolle Veranstaltung.
Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Yashodanandana Brajajana Ranjana Yashodanandana Brajajana Ranjana Jamuna Tira Banachari Jamuna Tira Banachari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivaradhari Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivaradhari Yashodanandana Brajajana Ranjana Yashodanandana Brajajana Ranjana Yamuna Tira Banachari Yamuna Tira Banachari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jai Amaswa Paramahansa Parivrajagacharya Sittareshwara Smadhati Siddhanta Saraswati Goswami Bhagavad Ki Jai Ananta Kodi Vaishnava Ki Jai Ramacharya Shri Haridas Thakur Ki Jai Prem Se Kaho Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasadi Gaur Bhaktivinoda Ki Jai Shri Radha Krishna Bhog Gopinath Sam Khand Radha Khand Giri Vardhan Ki Jai Vrindavan Dham Ki Jai Navadvip Dham Ki Jai Ganga Mai की जाए जमुना माई की जाए गुरु द्वारका धाम की जाए स्वामी तो भक्तविंद की जाए और ग्लोरी टू देयर और ग्लोरी टू देयर थैंक यू वेरी मच
Hare Krishna, dear devotees, please accept our humble obeisances. All glories to Jagadguru Srila Prabhupada. Our glories to our revered speaker for today, His Grace Padmanayan Prabhu, and all glories to assembled Vaishnava devotees. Padmanaya Prabhu, long time. Thank you so much for being here with us today. Well, Padmanayan Prabhu is my revered teacher, and once a teacher, always a teacher. He's been so kind to me. We've had very wonderful, sweet relationship, which goes beyond just teacher and a student. So I don't get to see him because he's very busy, which is good. So we are very happy to see you here, Prabhuji. And without further ado, we may put the verse on the screen, and then you may take it over from here. Thank you so much, Hare Krishna. It seems, Prabhu, your mic is muted.
Yeah. Can you hear me now?
Yes, Prabhuji. Thank you so much. Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Sahadev Prabhu.
Hare Krishna.
So, Hare Krishna, dear devotees. So today we will be reading from Canto 3, Chapter 9, text number 33. Vandeham Sri Gurun Sri Gupta Padakamalam Sri Gurun Vaishnavamscha Sri Rupam Sagrajatam Sagana Raghunathanmitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadhutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Sri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Sri Visakhanvitamsa Panchakalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhubhyaiva cha Patitanang Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha. Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shivasadi Gaura Bhaktavinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Jadarahitam bhutendriyagunasayaihi Swarupena mayopetam Pasyan swarajyamrichhati. Jadarahitam bhutendriyagunasayaihi Swarupena mayopetam Pasyan swarajyamrichhati. Jadarahitam bhutendriyagunasayaihi Sarupena mayopetam Pasyan swarajyamrichhati. Synonyms: Yada, when, rahitam, freed from, atmanam, self, bhuta, material elements, indriya, material senses, gunasayahi, under the influence of the material modes of nature, sarupena, in pure existence, maya, by me, upetam, approaching, Pasyan, by seeing, Swarajyam, spiritual kingdom, Richati, enjoy. Translation: when you are free from the conception of gross and subtle bodies, and when your senses are free from all influences of the modes of material nature, you will realize your pure form in my association. At that time, you will be situated in pure consciousness. Purport: in the Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu, it is said that a person whose only desire is to render transcendental loving service to the Lord is a free person in any condition of material existence. That service attitude is the Swarupa, or real form of the living entity. Lord Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu in Chaitanya Charitamrita also confirmed this statement by declaring that the real spiritual form of the living entity is eternal servitorship to the Supreme Lord. The Mayavada school shudders at the thought of a service attitude in the living entity, not knowing that in the transcendental world, the service of the Lord is based on transcendental love. Transcendental loving service is never to be compared to the forced service of the material world. In the material world, even if one is under the conception that he is no one's servant, he is still the servant of his senses. Under the condition of the material modes, actually, no one is master here in the material world. And therefore, the servants of the senses have a very bad experience of servitude. They shudder at the thought of service because they have no knowledge of the transcendental position. In transcendental loving service, the servitor is as free as the Lord. The Lord is Swarat or fully independent. And the servant is also fully independent or Swarat. The spiritual atmosphere because there is no forced service. There, the transcendental loving service is due to spontaneous love. A reflected glimpse of such service is experienced in the service of the mother and the son, the friend service and the friend, or the wife service and the husband. These reflections of service by friends, parents, or wives are not forced, but are due only to love. Here in this material world, however, the loving service is only a reflection. The real service or service in Swarupa is present in the transcendental world in association with the Lord. The very same service in transcendental love can be practiced in devotion. Here, this verse is also applicable to the Jnani school. The enlightened Jnani, when free from all material contaminations, namely the gross and subtle bodies, together with the senses of the material modes of nature, is placed in the Supreme Lord and is thus liberated from material bondage. The Jnanis and the devotees are actually in agreement up to the point of liberation from material contamination. But whereas the Jnanis remain pacified on the platform of simple understanding, the devotee develops further spiritual advancement in loving service. The devotees develop a spiritual individuality in their spontaneous service attitude, which is enhanced on and on up to the point of Madhurya Rasa, or transcendental loving service reciprocated between the lover and the beloved. So, this is a very important verse in Bhagavatam. It's the most important verse in Srimad Bhagavatam, really, because it is speaking about when a sadhaka becomes qualified to come to the position of rendering transcendental devotional service at the personality of Godhead. Prabhupada has given a lot of good points in this purport, hinting how a sadhaka should cultivate his desire so that he can, or we can say, cultivate the sadhana practice, so that his sadhana practice will gradually help him to come to the platform of rendering pure devotional service. In our ISKCON, we always put a lot of emphasis on we all are engaged in the service of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. We are doing devotional service. But anyone who understands this verse very clearly, they will be able to measure their own standard in devotional practice and can conclude what level of devotional service they are practicing. So here, if you want to understand this verse, this concept clearly, we have to understand the previous verse also, because the verse starts with Jada. Jada means when. Rahitam Atmanam, Bhutendra Gunashay. Jada Atmanam Bhuta Indriya Gunashay Rahitam means when one becomes freed from the contaminations of the material elements which are created because of the Bhuta. Bhuta means five gross elements are there: earth, water, fire, ether, right? All these five elements they are called Panchabhuta. So Bhuta, Indriya. And there are certain contaminations created by our senses, material senses. And guna, material modes, they also create contamination. And uh, and Asha, here Asha means actually desires. Uh, Prabhupada, even though he translates Gunasaya under the influence of material modes of nature, but actually, if you break this Guna Ashaya, uh, Gunashaya, Ashaya means actually desires, Antakarana, consciousness, actually, you can say also. So they actually create contaminations. But therefore, here it is said, Vijada Rahitam Atmanam Bhutandya Gunasaya Swarupena Mayopetam. When one becomes free from the contamination created by the material elements, senses, mind, and the consciousness, and the three modes of material nature, then Swarupena Mayopetam. He is situated in his constitutional position and attains to the abode of the Supreme Lord. Now, we want to understand how one comes to that platform where he becomes free from these material contaminations. So, in the previous verse, very nice analogy have been given. That analogy can help us to understand our situation in this world. The philosophy says, so the verse says, Yada tu sarvabhutesu daru swagnim iva sthitam. So, in this verse, it is explained that when we are in this material world, we are meeting with different individuals. At that time, how is our vision? How do you perceive things in this material world? That is going to determine whether I am becoming gradually purified of the material contaminations and then realizing my spiritual identity as an eternal servant of the Lord, and eventually elevating myself to the platform of rendering pure devotional service in the abode of the Supreme Lord. So everything starts from how we visualize different entities in this world, or when we meet with different kind of situations, how do we react to it? That all determines our gradual purification of the material contaminations. So therefore, this example is very, very pertinent for us to understand. So in this example, it is clearly mentioned that Yadatu sarvabhutesu bhutesvagni ivasthitam. Whenever we meet with any individual, how do we perceive them? What is the vision of Bhagavatam? It says, just like uh, in the wood there is fire in it, right? Even though fire is there, you cannot see it, but when you use the wood, then you know that fire is there. Because of the fire, that's why it is getting burnt. So just like fire remains in the wood, but the crookedness of the wood is not touched by the fire. You understand? Fire is inside the wood. Wood may be crooked, wood may be very long. It has got nothing to do with the fire. These kind of qualities of the wood is not touched by the fire. Fire is always pure in its existence. Similarly, when we come across certain individuals in this world, what do we see? We see the crookedness in form of the wood. But the soul or the super soul who is residing in the individual is actually untouched by the crookedness of the individual. That crookedness which is created because of the bhutendriya gunashaya, because of the contact with the material, this gross elements, senses, material moods, their desire, their consciousness, right? Like we have a consciousness, everybody has consciousness. So this consciousness, we perceive certain objects, we see certain objects through our knowledge, right? Means you see an object through your eyes, then immediately one person thinks, oh, here is a beautiful girl. Then he wants to have physical relationship with her. That is running in his consciousness. There is another person who sees the beautiful girl, but he is not thinking of any material contamination. Okay? So, by seeing in consciousness, we are getting polluted. Same thing, we are eating something. We do not know how much we should eat. We eat more than what is necessary for the body, then material contamination. Our Krishna consciousness is not, not then in that. Sometimes we eat so too much that we cannot practice even our Krishna conscious practices. Contamination. So similarly, with other entities, our senses also they create contaminations. So how? Because we see the external things, we don't see the internal thing. Here is very nicely explained, like you see, every living entity. There's a verse quoted by Madhvacharya actually. So Madhvacharya, he has quoted a beautiful verse explaining how we should see. It is coming from Dattatreya Yoga. Says, when one gives up the identification of the self with the body and things related to body, and having seen or realized the true nature of the self, that is servant, residing in the heart in the form of the jiva, and also true self as residing at the lotus feet of Lord Hari. When one sees this through direct perception, means realization, then that person attains liberation. That means when we will become free from the material contamination, this is what it is even discussed in the previous verse, that how when we meet with different entities of different nature in this world, how is our reaction to them? This is when we are talking in general, then what to speak of meeting the Vaishnavas. So here, as I mentioned, that many times we are influenced by external things. What is the mood of a devotee? A devotee actually cultivates the mood from within. We are supposed to remain Krishna conscious 24 hours a day. Smartabhya Suttam Vishnu. Vismartabhya na jatu chet. We are serving. We are saying, I am devotee, I am serving. Are we really Krishna conscious? If we ask ourselves, how far we have become successful in uh, coming to the platform of realization that really I am servant, I am serving the Lord. That's a form of meditation actually. How does it happen? One cannot just meditate on the Lord, uh, you know, immediately when one fine morning he wakes up, then, oh, now I have attained the meditative stage, right? Or somebody can say, oh, I'm sitting down in one place, I'm chanting, I'm remembering Lord's form. This is my meditation. Prabhu, the disturbance in the mind is still there. You are not meditating actually. Don't try to artificially meditate. You first meditate on the qualities of the Supreme. Qualities means, for example, Lord says He is very merciful to His devotees. How He has been merciful to you, appreciate that. Forget about thinking about His confidential pastime with the gopis in Vrindavan. Just first realize, remember His instruction. He said, Mamevo je prapadyante maya me tam tarantite. Sarvadharman parityajya mamekam saranam vaja. Aham tam sarva papabhyam mokshaishyami ma sucha. He is saying, surrender unto me. He is saying, if you surrender unto me, I will free you from the clutches of material existence. Why don't you remember these kind of words of Krishna initially? This should be the subject matter of meditation, first of all. Because this meditation will help one become free from material contamination. That means these subject matter, for example, maybe one devotee is being, see, why I am discussing this, my beginning was that how we can come to the platform of rendering transcendental devotional service. We are saying we are doing devotional service, but we are not actually connected with Krishna. We are doing some mechanical service actually. Therefore, we are discussing this consciousness. That's why this part says no, that when Bhutendra Gunashaya, when one becomes free from these material contaminations. So the mood is very, very important in this connection to understand. Uh, what I was saying? Remember? Forgot.
Yeah, you're talking about the mood. Yeah. Yeah.
Yes. So the point is, when we meet with different devotees, what actually I'm thinking, if I feel, for example, let us take another example. No, we go to a meeting, we sit there, one devotee really, behaves in such way that I feel like he's not supporting me. At that time, if I am remembering that, oh, Krishna is using him to make me humble, that is one step actually I am taking towards achieving transcendental devotional service. So initially, when devotee tries to understand his position in Krishna consciousness by not finding fault with anyone, and he cultivates a very humble mode, gradually actually he is becoming free from the material contamination. And when we become free from material contamination, that time the devotee will become actually detached. Let us understand what is this detachment. The goal of yoga practice is to attain detachment. Whether somebody is practicing jnana, who wants to attain to the Brahman or Paramatma realization, or even devotee who are practicing devotional service. First of all, everybody has to come to the platform of detachment. That means nothing, whether to the body or things related to body, he is not attached. Somebody is praising him, somebody is criticizing him, somebody is giving him a gift, somebody is bad mouthing. He is not attached. Very difficult actually. That platform can be attained only through devotional service. That jnana and vairagya, yeah, this is vairagya, right? Detachment. How to understand that my detachment has arisen from bhakti? This is what it will you should know. That when, like Bhagavad Gita says in 6th chapter, Samalashtrasma Kanchana, he sees with equality a piece of gold and a lump of matter, huh? With same vision. Samalashtrasma Kanchana. So that that is the point of detachment. Oh, this sound is very pleasing to hear. That sound is not very pleasing to hear. No, he doesn't think like that. This is very nice to eat. That is not so good to eat. He doesn't feel like that. Then you should know that his knowledge and vairagya has arisen from bhakti. Otherwise, sometimes we may make a show of attaining and vairagya, or we have attained jnana, but then immediately next time you see, I am affected by these dualities, the contradictions, differences, right? And then my jnana vairagya is not coming from bhakti, that is just arising from my mind. So unless one becomes free from these kind of contaminations that mind or senses are creating, we cannot actually perform transcendental devotional service. And another point also here we need to remember that becoming free from these contaminations, that means um, a devotee in any circumstance, he tries to maintain a purity of consciousness. To maintain purity of consciousness, it requires a lot of discernment. Means what is his situation, how he is looking, perceiving the world, how he faces different situations in his life. These are very important aspects of Krishna consciousness. Then he can actually elevate himself to that transcendental platform. And when he comes to the platform where he is gradually losing the attachment to this world, means attachment to things belongs to me, or I consider these are mine, this is me. When he is gradually becoming freed, he will actually experience some sort of happiness. That happiness is not to be gained from any other objects in this world. Like, for example, at present, we eat something, we see something, or we get some good item, we experience some sort of happiness actually. Everybody knows about it. But when the devotee will be in a position where even if he is coming in contact, his senses are coming in contact with the sense objects, still he remains unaffected, neutral, equipoised in all circumstances. That only we can tell to ourselves whether I am in that position or not. Right? Therefore, in the Kapil Dev Shiksha, he says, Chitta Badisam Samakoi Biyunte. Chitta Badisam. Tachapi Chitta Badisam Samakoi Biyunte. Lord Kapil Dev is speaking to Mother Devavati. That in this mind, we need to actually meditate on the Lord. Just like somebody who is going to catch a fish, he is giving a bat in the, what do you say, that iron, that's called badisa in Sanskrit. I'm not able to explain it in English. People when they go to catch fish, there is a little like this kind of an item. They put a bat inside, then they throw in water. Then
A
when
hook.
hook, okay, hook
Yes.
made of iron, huh?
Okay.
Then they cover it with one wet and then throw into the water. And then when fish they eat it, then you can catch it, right? Similarly, in this mind, what we do, we try to meditate on the Lord. And once you get the Lord, then Lord cannot go. So chitta is like that hook. Okay. So that is why that meditation is very, very essential. But as I said, in the beginning, we cannot do the meditation. Therefore, what we meditate? We meditate on the qualities of the Lord. In our level, that's why Bhagavad Gita philosophy is very, very important, which I explained that Krishna says, Sarvadharman Parityaja Mama, Mami Vaja Prapadyante Maya Me Tantarantite. Am I surrendered to him? I should ask myself. Then what will happen? Gradually, if we start from there, we will see that our propensity to find fault with others, our propensity to look down upon others, our propensity to criticize others will gradually disappear. And when gradually our mind is becoming free from these kind of contaminations, the sadhaka will automatically experience some satisfaction. Therefore, at that time, even if he meets with reverses, somebody is glorifying him, somebody is criticizing him, or some favorable decisions are made, unfavorable decisions are made, he sees everything related to Krishna's service. Okay, my dear Lord, now you are not allowing me to serve. Okay, fine. He is not blaming anyone. Okay, my dear Lord, this is a wonderful opportunity you are giving me to serve you. Okay, I'll do this. Huh? So, therefore, in this verse, it is mentioned that Yada Rahitam Atmanam Bhutendra Gnasai Surupena Mayopetam Pasyan Swarajyamichati. So at that time, he comes to the spiritual world and the kingdom of the Lord. And there he sees the Lord. So in the second paragraph, Prabhupada says, in transcendental loving service, the servitor is as free as Lord. The Lord is Swarat, or fully independent. And the spiritual atmosphere, the servant is also fully independent, Swarat, because there is no forced service. There is no forced service. Means he is naturally inclined to do service because he has got a taste. For example, okay, there is no forced service. If you see a child, he likes a particular item, you don't have to force the child to eat that item. It becomes natural because he has got the taste. He is automatically drawn to eat it. Similarly, when we come to the platform of taste, you don't have to, nobody has to force you. But right now, we have to force ourselves. Wake up early in the morning by force, chant by force, go to temple by force, stop criticizing devotees by force. But that time, it will become natural. You will not criticize devotees. You will be very easy to serve. Everything is very nice. So therefore, this sadhana practice is very, very important. If we do our sadhana correctly, then Krishna will help us actually to attain that position. Toward the end of the purport, Prabhupada is also speaking about like Mayavadis. What happens is Mayavadis? Mayavadis actually they are averse to the Lord. They cannot actually become detached. They cannot attain anything. They cannot be peaceful actually. Similarly, in Krishna consciousness, dressing like a devotee, sometimes we become averse to the devotees. And that is very dangerous. We should not. Sometimes say, okay, Prabhuji, this is like this is like that, what to do? Lord will take care. We have to keep ourselves in a safe position. And we can do whatever we can do. Doing things without having critical mood. We should do as our service. That is okay. And if it doesn't work out, Krishna's plan. I take it as Krishna's plan. But if uh, I am not able to respect the devotee, then I am stuck actually. I don't know that I am not progressing. Because sometimes in the material world, we are in a comfortable position, we have everything. So we feel like everything is going okay, but actually it is not going on okay. We have to respect the devotee. And that means actually we are respecting Krishna. Similarly, we have our life, we have our facilities in our life, how we are using it in Krishna's service. That is the most important thing. Then the day will come when we grow old. That time we don't have a much hankering in this world. Mind will be very peacefully engaged in even thinking about the Lord, reading something, meditating upon it, doing puja. All these things will help us. So, therefore, Prabhupada is saying toward the end of the purport that the devotees develop a spiritual individuality in their spontaneous service attitude. Spontaneous service attitude is not just coming all on a sudden. No, spontaneous service attitude will evolve. We should know that. And that if we are expecting it to evolve, then we need to create a conducive atmosphere. So whatever we have been discussing, that is just to create a conducive atmosphere so that our spontaneous service attitude can be evolved, which is enhanced on and on up to the point of Madhurya Rasa or transcendental loving service reciprocated between the lover and the beloved. So everything starts with our mood in cultivating Krishna consciousness. So that will determine our attainment of transcendental loving devotional service. So we have got maybe 10-15 minutes. If the devotees, anyone have any question or comment, we should look into that.
Hare Krishna. Thank you so much, His Grace Padmanayan Prabhu. Lots of reminders to help us become successful in our devotional practice. Thank you for sharing this depth of wisdom with us all. Dear devotees, if anyone may have questions, comments, reflections, realizations you may want to ask or share, please indicate by using the hand emoji or your physical hand, and you'll be asked to unmute to ask your question or share your reflections. Hare Krishna. Well, Prabhuji, thank you. The verse talks about, of course, Krishna speaking, talks about how the pure consciousness of the living entity is covered by this material contamination. And in the purport, Srila Prabhupada gives the analogy of fire in the wood. So my question is, the living entity is pure consciousness by nature in the spiritual world. So how does the pure nature of the living entity, which is pure consciousness, now becomes contaminated by the material nature? Is it because anytime any soul comes into this material world, he becomes contaminated? And if that is the case, then the question will be, how then is it that those who are Nitya Siddhas, they come into this material world, but their consciousness is never touched by the material nature? So what makes the pure consciousness of the living entity contaminated by coming in contact with the material nature? This is my question, Prabhuji.
What makes the pure consciousness of the living entity contaminated in this world? For that, you should know that you are comparing the two. One entity coming from the spiritual world, they are Nitya Muktas, their consciousness is contaminated, and some other entity's consciousness is contaminated. First of all, you should know that we are conditioned, they are not conditioned souls, they are liberated souls. Only conditioned souls' consciousness can become contaminated because we are conditioned with the material modes. For Nitya Siddhas, contamination of this world means the material modes cannot affect them actually. Apparently speaking, when they are here, maybe their body is getting diseased, they are getting old, looks like that. No, that is just external factor. That is just, they have to also follow the law of this material nature when they come here. Like for example, uh, there are certain laws applies to everybody, whoever is going to, okay, now let us understand this. When a senior officer is visiting the jail, okay, nothing is applied to the jail rule, which is applied to the criminals, is not applied to him. But somebody goes and says, oh, he's in the jail? Well, that when he's entering there, it looks like he's in the jail, but he's not in the jail. He's transcendental. You are applying because you see he's in the jail. This is the kind of law. Similarly, they are not contaminated, their consciousness is not contaminated. Our consciousness is contaminated. Now the question is how it is contaminated. Actually, our consciousness is pure. And when you want it to be contaminated, it is getting contaminated. Consciousness is like pure water. When it is going through a salty ground, it is becoming, taste becomes salty. When it passes through sweet ground, the water becomes sweet. Very simple. Consciousness is like that only. So every time when you are looking into mobile phone, you see some images, consciousness is contaminated. But you may not see these images, but you see, you hear Prabhupada's lecture, some your Guru's lecture. You see some temple program, consciousness is not contaminated. So it is by this independent will of the living entities, their consciousness is getting contaminated. Every moment. It's our free will. By the misuse of our free will, we are getting contaminated.
So as listening to you, my understanding to what you're sharing is, especially when you're giving the analogy of pure water coming in contact with salt, it becomes salty. We all know that if it becomes in contact with something sweet, it becomes sweet. So will that mean that our association with the different modes will make us who we are? Like if I...
Utendriya gunasai. Material modes, senses, your material elements, your desires.
Yeah. Well, I was preaching to somebody some time ago, and I don't recall exactly how it came about, but we got it to a point where we were talking about karma. And I was trying to explain that sometimes we might have desired certain things in our previous lives that were not fulfilled, but they may be fulfilled in this lifetime. And in this lifetime, we become a bit matured and we don't want it anymore. But because we desired for it, nature is making an arrangement for them, for us to enjoy them or suffer from them. Now, if Krishna is fulfilling my desires, my previous lifetime desires, or even in this lifetime, but in my early days before I got to know about Krishna consciousness, I had so many material desires. I wanted to be this, I wanted to be that. Now, by Guru Krishna's grace, I do not want to become any of such. But because I once had such desires, if material nature is making them available for me, and now I realize I do not want them, is there a possibility that material nature or Krishna will say, okay, you desired, I was giving them to you, but now you don't want them, so I'm no more going to give them to you. Or Krishna, nature, will say, once you desired for them, you're going to have them. What happens? Because there may be some things going on in my life this time that I do not want, but because I desired for them, material nature is fulfilling them.
You see, Prabhupada is speaking in this purport one thing, that we are in the hands of the material nature. Either you serve Krishna or you serve material nature, Maya. He's talking about this in this purport, right?
Yeah.
That means there are clearly two things. Either you can be serving Maya, means under the care of Maya, or you are under the care of Krishna. So you are asking whether Krishna is deciding, we can do, he will give us, will not give us, we have to get it. The thing is, when we surrender to Krishna, we say Krishna from today onwards we are yours. Means actually I mean it. Not that I say it, then again I am having lot of plan to satisfy my own personal motives. Then I am under Maya, external energy. That time, whatever I supposed to get, she will provide. Okay? But once I don't want to remain under Krishna's external energy, I give myself fully to him, that time he will take the charge. Oh, that time sometimes he may use my prarabdha karma to show me so many, difficult things, challenging things in my life, because he wants to let go the material world in me. That's why he might sometimes use this prarabdha karma. Okay? Sometimes he may test me. Sometimes he may free me. But only thing is, if Krishna is taking the charge, sometimes he may do that. If Krishna is not taking the charge, then we will be getting everything from Maya. And if Krishna takes charge, sometimes without giving us any trouble, he can also directly bring us back to Godhead also. Because kartum akartum anyatha kartum samartha. That is Supreme Lord. He can do anything, he can undo anything. Do something else.
Well, thank you. Thank you so much, Prabhuji. Well, we pray that we do not get controlled by material nature, but controlled by the Supreme Lord Himself. This is
You
our
say
prayer.
that, but I don't know how much we are.
Yes, that is true. I would say particularly myself, I say that, but oftentimes I do not work towards the direction that Krishna will have to direct or control my activities. Verbally, I would say I wish Krishna controls my life, but I act and behave in such a way that it is material nature that has to control my life, because I'm just following to the dictates of material nature. That is the difficulty. We'll continue whatever little we can and be prayerful that maybe someday the Lord will take control of our lives instead of material nature. Well, thank you so much. Anyone else with something to ask or to share before we? Of course, Prabhuji is in India, so it's quite late this time. It's getting to 10 o'clock his time.
Okay, thank you very much. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare.
Well, Prabhuji, before you leave, even though you chanted the Hare Krishna Maha Mantra, we're going to humbly request all the devotees to kindly unmute, and we all in unison chant Hare Krishna Maha Mantra to express appreciation to our revered speaker for today, His Grace PADMANAYAN Prabhu. Oh, Hare Chakra, you have something to ask?
Hare Chakra.
All right. Hare Chakra Prabhu, please you may unmute then.
Yeah, I wanted to ask a question, but if it's time, it's okay.
It's okay.
But if
It's okay.
Oh, Prabhuji says you may ask.
all glories to God, all glories to Guru Dev, and all glories to you, and all glories to myself. I'm just
Prabhu, his voice is
No,
not clear.
we cannot hear you properly, Hare Chakra Prabhu.
hold on, let me see what. Can you hear me now?
Yeah, we can hear you.
Yeah, I'm saying that I'm doing a follow-up of the question that is how
You're still breaking up.
how
No, Hare Chakra Prabhu, you're still breaking up. We cannot hear you. I don't know what happened.
Tell him to chat the question and send question on chat box.
Yeah. Well, I doubt he'll be able to do that because I think he is either driving or something.
It disappeared.
Oh, yeah. Well, what we'll do, Prabhuji, maybe by Guru Krishna's grace, we'll have your association next time, and then he may have the opportunity to ask his question. Because we actually lost him. I think it's internet connection. Yes. So, like,
Where he is based? Hare Chakra Prabhu?
We lost him. He's not here at the moment.
No, where he is based, Chakrabu, where is?
Oh, he's very close to where I am now. He's in Harrisburg.
In USA?
Yes.
Oh,
Yeah. You know him in person. He knows you.
okay.
Yes. Yeah. So devotees, we're going to humbly request you again to all unmute and we all chant Hare Krishna Maha Mantra, please. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama,
Hare Rama, Hare Rama,
Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Vajakapatarubhyacha, Kripasidhya Vaja, Patitanam Pavanivyo Vaja,
Oh my God.
Vaishnava Vrinda Ki Jai. All glories to His grace,
So
Padmanayana
good, man.
Ki
And
Jai.
you make that money at the end of the month. You throw it away.
I'm so late. Oh.
Okay. So we thank you all devotees.